Hi, I am Valerie Kinloch, the Renee and Richard Goldman Dean of our School of Education at the University of Pittsburgh. And I bring you warm greetings on behalf of our entire School of Education community. Thank you for attending our 2021 homecoming virtual gathering. And although we are virtual again this year, I want to let you know that we have been working hard. We have many accomplishments and updates to share. And I'm just so thrilled to continue to have your support. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for continuing to be actively involved in our School of Education. So what I want to do really briefly, I want to talk about some of those updates and accomplishments, but I want to talk about them after I frame who we are as a School of Education. That means I'm turning to our mission vision statement. I want to share it with you. I'm sure you've heard it, but I want to read it to you one more time. And then I want to offer a few updates so that we have something to hold on to and to celebrate during this time. So our mission vision statement says that we ignite learning. We strive for well-being for all. We teach. We commit to student, family, and community success. We commit to educational equity. We advocate. We work for justice. We cultivate relationships. We forge engaged partnerships. We collaborate. We learn with and from communities. We innovate and agitate. We pursue and produce knowledge. We research. We disrupt and transform in equitable educational structures. We approach learning as intertwined with health, wellness, and human development. We address how national, global, social, and technological change impacts learning. We shape practice and policy. We teach with and for dignity. We think, we dream, we lead with integrity. We are the School of Education at the University of Pittsburgh. And that's our mission vision statement. And that mission vision statement guides all of the work that we commit to doing on behalf of this School of Education, because we are the School of Education at the University of Pittsburgh. In addition to that mission vision statement, there's a direct connection from it to the work that we do in our school. And I want to share with you just a few brief updates and some accomplishments. And let me actually start with an update based on our school's operations. So as many of you know, the University of Pittsburgh has resumed in-person instruction and in-person work for the fall semester 2021. And that became effective on Monday, September 13th. So because we are back in person, we continue to monitor our vaccination rates, our COVID cases, with the hopes that we will continue to be safe and well and healthy as a university community, but also as a School of Education community. I am very proud of how our school community has responded and continues to respond to the various challenges of working during a pandemic. And so on the one hand, we are working during a pandemic. We are working in light of all of this ongoing racism and violence. We are working during traumatic and difficult times. And we still remain strong when we think about who we are as connected to our mission vision. We forge engaged partnerships, and we are a community of learners and teachers, scholars and thinkers and community members. So on behalf of our School of Education, we continue to respond to the various challenges in the most productive and engaging ways that we can. In addition to that particular update, the return to in-person teaching and work, I also want to give another update, and this is a positive update. I want to say that our School of Education, according to the 2022 U.S. News and World Report rankings, we are the #1 public school of education in the state of Pennsylvania. We are number 23 nationally when compared against our public institution peers. We are leading. We are engaging in important work. And I think the important work is being measured by our U.S. News and World Report rankings. And however, I want to say that I understand that rankings are an imperfect measure, but they do matter when it comes to thinking about our reputation relative to our peer institutions. And the School of Education is definitely leading the way. And so, in addition to being the #1 public school of education in the state, if you recall, summer of 2020, I founded the Pitt Ed Justice Collective. And initially, what started as a 3-year working group has grown into a collective of people committed to thinking deeply about and working for equity and justice within their various work, learning, and living contexts. We have hosted multiple online webinars. We've convened various study groups for faculty, for staff, and our students have produced original critical research. We continue to do outreach to various communities, school districts, locally, regionally, and across the nation. And our Pitt Ed Justice Collective will continue to lead the way. If you are interested in getting involved or receiving updates, then I invite you to visit education.pitt.edu/justice for more information on the Pitt Ed Justice Collective. I want to offer a few words when it comes to our academic programs. And I want to offer some words in reference to what I'm so excited about. And I don't know if you can tell. I mean, my excitement is just jumping out of me. We have a new undergraduate teacher education degree program. And while it sounds like, yeah, that's nice, this is huge. It is a 4-year undergraduate teacher education degree program officially approved by the University of Pittsburgh for our School of Education. It will help us to not only compete with our peer institutions, most of whom offer undergraduate programs, but it will help us to increase access and diversity when it comes to the teaching profession. We have an opportunity to work with multiple students. We have an opportunity to bring back an undergraduate teacher education program that we have not had in our school in so many decades. We need your help. And I'm asking that you spread the word, that you tell your colleagues, your friends, your family members, anyone who will listen, that the School of Education at the University of Pittsburgh has a new 4-year undergraduate teacher education degree program. And we are so excited to begin this program officially in the fall of 2023. And let me also note that it will offer a 4-year pathway to state certification. And that's important to say. So I'm asking you to support this program. I'm asking you to share it with anyone who will listen. This is an exciting time in the School of Education. And finally, I want to just thank you. I want to thank you for all of the support that you continue to give me as your dean, but that you continue to give our School of Education. Thank you for your contributions, your donations, your participation, your insights. Thank you for doing the work on behalf of families, students, communities, and schools across the world. Your support as an alumni is critical to the sustained success of our school. In fact, you make it possible for us to continue to attract, recruit, retain, and graduate students and professors who are here in the school working with our students. You make it possible for us to offer a high quality academic experience for all of our students. You make it possible for me to provide you with these updates on the wonderful accomplishments that we are able to have in this school. So thank you for your commitment and dedication. In order to get involved, I'm asking that you feel free to contact Mr. Michael Haas. He is our Director of Development and Alumni Affairs, and he can be reached at mbh26@pitt.edu. So again, welcome to an exciting time in our school. Thank you for participating in every aspect of our school. Thank you for contributing to our school. And just thank you for embracing me as your dean, because with colleagues, with alumni, with faculty, staff, and students, I know that we will continue to make a difference here in this city, in this state, in this nation, and across the entire world. So continue to support us as we seek to further ignite learning and strive for well-being for all. On behalf of our School of Education, I am Dean Valerie Kinloch, and I thank you for always participating in our school events. Thanks.
All right. Hello, my name is Libby Korber. I'm a student in Applied Developmental Psychology, Early Childhood Education, and Special Education. Like Zakaria, I am proud to serve as a School of Education Student Ambassador. To continue our discussion about the School of Education's new Undergraduate Teacher Education Program, I would like to introduce Dr. Sabina Vaught and Dr. Michelle Sobolak. Dr. Vaught and Dr. Sobolak will talk more about this new program and answer questions our alumni and friends may have about the new Undergraduate Teacher Education Program. Dr. Sabina Vaught is a professor and the chair of our Department of Teaching, Learning, and Leading. Dr. Vaught's research considers the relationships among schools, prisons, and insurgent communities specifically. Dr. Vaught spent the first decade of her teaching career as a high school language arts teacher, and she has taught in adult and juvenile prisons for state-identified women and girls. Dr. Michelle Sobolak is an associate professor in literacy education and the director of teacher and professional education. She is a former first grade teacher, reading specialist, and literacy coach. Dr. Sobolak led the Reimagined Teacher Education Committee that was instrumental in getting our undergraduate teacher education program approved. Dr. Vaught and Dr. Sobolak, welcome. Michael Haas, Director of Development and Alumni Affairs, will begin by asking some questions our school has received from alumni since the news of the undergraduate program was announced. Please also drop any questions you have into the Q&A, and we will do our best to answer them.
Thank you for the introductions, and good afternoon, everyone. We are happy to have you join us today. Please feel free to drop the questions into the Q&A, and Dr. Vaught and Dr. Sobolak and I will do our best to answer them for you. And in the meantime, I would ask Dr. Sobolak to briefly provide a bit more detail about the Undergraduate Teacher Education Program. And we have a PowerPoint, which we are actually going to show you as well.
Thank you, Mike. I'm happy to do that. And thanks to Libby for the nice introductions as well. Thank you. So I want to give a brief overview of our undergrad teacher education program to help you understand the different ARCOs that we'll work with, what the program might look like, and kind of what the opportunities are that it's going to offer to us and to our future students. So I'll go ahead and start with the next slide that outlines our three overarching goals in creating this new program. And Valerie spoke to these already. One is to address cost. Our goal was to figure out how can we help students who are interested in becoming certified teachers do so at the undergraduate level, because we know that reduces the cost for them. We hope we'll be able to tap into the strong Pitt students that already come at the undergraduate level and offer a real added bonus to those students who might be interested in becoming teachers who won't have to wait till the graduate level to do so. Our second goal was in building on Pitt's strong disciplinary offerings. One of the key tenets of our graduate program is that we're able to draw upon Pitt's strong offerings in welcoming in Pitt undergrads to graduate study and in welcoming in students from across different colleges and universities as well. This program is going to give us the opportunity to partner strongly with arts and sciences and to develop students into teachers who have strong disciplinary backgrounds. And our last and probably really most important goal in developing the undergrad teacher education program was to increase the diversity in teacher preparation. And Valerie really spoke to this in providing opportunities for students who may not in the past have considered teacher education for a number of reasons. We hope to create a program that is more welcoming of students with multiple identities, and to create a program that's going to develop all teachers into the types of teachers that all students deserve. So next I'll speak to the areas of concentration, or I'm sorry, next I'll speak to what this program looks like generally. We are not a freshman entering major, and that's true of all undergraduate teacher education programs in the state. The Pennsylvania Department of Education, or PDE, requires students to apply for teacher education after they have earned 48 to 60 credits, and our program will adhere to that. Our secondary tracks, as I just spoke to, will have content requirements as outlined by the state to make sure that the students are not only prepared to be strong teachers, but of that strong content background as well. This will require a partnership and really allow us to have a deep partnership with the Dietrich School of Arts and Sciences. We've started that partnership already as we've been thinking about and developing our proposal, and as it's gone through the channels. And we're really excited to re-engage with the faculty and staff in the Dietrich School of Arts and Sciences as we develop the program and recognize that we'll be sharing students across their undergraduate career. This program, just like any major at the university, will allow for possible double major as well. So it may be a student who's been passionate about English or biology, for instance, and who's always considered, what might I do with those types of degrees? Who might want to maximize their time at the university by majoring in major in arts and science and also in the School of Ed. We'll go on to the next slide, please. We will offer different tracks in our program. The secondary program has 5 tracks, or 5 what we call ARCOs, areas of concentration. And those secondary tracks, or ARCOs, are English, math, various sciences, social studies, and various world heritage languages. They're the same tracks that we currently offer at the graduate level. We will also now offer at the undergraduate level. And that program for the secondary teacher education, preparing people to teach students in grades 7 to 12, will be a 45 credit major. And our second major area is special education. Recently, the state changed the special education certification to encompass pre-K to grade 12, or pre-K to age 21, as we speak to in special education. And our undergraduate degree will prepare teachers to teach that population of students. And that degree will be 48 credits. You can go on to the next slide, please. Regardless of the track that students sign up in, one of the things that we're really excited about is the shared coursework that students coming into teacher education will have. And this marks a real opportunity for us to develop new courses and to fill in. We have excellent graduate teacher education programs, and we'll continue to have those excellent programs, but we really wanted to take a deep look as things change and as our program develops. We never want to be static. What are the things that we're missing? What will help to improve our students' experience and improve the teachers we put out into the communities? And so students will share coursework. They will share Foundations of Special Education, Culture, Identity, and Context 1, Foundational Issues in Ed, Human Development, Teaching English Language Learners, Culture, Identity, and Context 2. So you see a bookend there where students will take the first Culture, Identity, in context class as they become interested in teacher education, and the second when they're really deeply ingrained in their school site. And it will also give us the opportunity to have both pre-student teaching and a student teaching semester. And there will be seminar classes associated with each of those. If we can go on to the next slide, please. So I wanted to I could never list all the opportunities that this undergrad teacher education major will afford us and will afford our students, but I wanted to at least pull out a few of the opportunities to get us thinking and the things that really drove us as we were developing this proposal. This proposal and this new major will allow us to deepen our partnerships with schools, community agencies, and the communities in which schools and these agencies serve. And that's something that we know really matters to developing teachers, and that really matters to us in the School of Education, to be true partners with places that we're placing students and where we have a presence. So meaning that This allows us to ask not only of these schools and spaces to take our students and to help us develop them, but also what can we do as Pitt that would serve schools and communities better. This major will also let us partner with and learn from grant-funded initiatives. And you may have seen in email blasts and media that goes out a really, really important and amazing opportunity that is happening with my colleague, Dr. Sabina Vaught, the Manhattan Practices of Freedom grant that really is going to focus on developing students, transforming teacher education in schools, and with the ultimate goal of increasing the number of Black educators in our schools. And we believe that this program can learn with and from grant-funded initiatives such as that as we partner to develop students into teachers. This will also give us the opportunity to increase the length of time that students are in our program. And there's research around that when students have sustained experiences as they develop into teachers, that development leads them to be better prepared to serve students. As I mentioned previously, it also allows us to increase our coursework. So really thinking about where were the spaces that we feel like we could do more work with students and better prepare students. So for an example, increasing and adding classes in human development, educational foundation, and then coursework focused on freedom and equitable educational practices, both that stand alone and are deeply embedded across each of our courses. And it allows us to increase our placement opportunities as well. So in our current program, students are in one placement. They're with us for one graduate year. And we know being in that one placement is so important and they have deep experiences there. But having an undergraduate program allows us to extend that and have a pre-student teaching placement as well that allows students to be in different school settings, in different school types, and to have a more broad experience about the types of schools that they may end up teaching in their future. So Mike, that marks the overall, just kind of way that we can frame our program, and we look forward to answering questions.
Well, we appreciate you giving us the overview, and I know all of us and a whole bunch of alumni are excited about this new program. I do have a couple questions that came in. How do you expect this new program to follow our School of Education's mission and vision? Sabina, did you want to answer that maybe?
Sure. Well, I'll start. So Mike, thanks for inviting the two of us to be in conversation tonight. And Libby, thank you for the introduction. And I just want to say, you all, Michelle's the MVP. She has worked on this for years and worked hard. And when Mike invited the two of us, Michelle had just been called to jury duty, and the attorneys involved had told her it would be 5 weeks. And when Michelle thought that I might have to do this by myself, she got out of jury duty and she got here. And so what you saw, we need to clap. She is the MVP. So clap in the chat. Thank you, Michelle.
You're too kind, Sabina. It was definitely a team effort, and we're so glad to have you leading that now.
So I think the connections to the mission vision really ran through what Michelle talked about, but there are maybe some specific things we can share that we're working on right now. So right now, Michelle and I are co-facilitating the group that is putting this into kind of like being, and part of that group is a subcommittee that's working on developing curriculum. So this curriculum is going to be connected to units across the university that are already doing justice work, already doing freedom work, but we'll also be drawing on some of the efforts here and some of the efforts globally to think differently about the role of education in relationship to freedom broadly. And so we're working specifically on 4 of those courses that Michelle laid out. I don't know, Michelle, if you want to add to that with something specific we're doing right now.
No, I think that really covered it, Sabina. I think we're just really excited with the mission vision coming out and being in place for a couple years now and getting this approval and recognizing all the possibilities of connecting the work we're doing to that mission vision. And I think we have lots of thoughts of what that can be, and we're so excited for what it will end up being, and know that there's a lot of possibility out there.
Fantastic. Here's another one. How do you expect the undergraduate program to impact our existing programs, such as CASE or the Masters of Teaching Education program?
Well, that's a great question. I don't know that it will impact CASE specifically, just because CASE offers certifications in pre-K4 and dual special education. So that program will continue to exist and has done an excellent job already engaging with undergrads that stay with us throughout their graduate program. But we will be looking deeply as we develop this program at the possibility perhaps of in the future considering paths for pre-K4 only at the undergrad level as well. And we do anticipate changes in our graduate programming. As I mentioned previously, we believe we have strong programs, but no program should be static and without deep, consideration about what would improve it. And this gives us an opportunity to do that as well, where we can align coursework, particularly in methods across the undergraduate and graduate programming. We don't want to lose the option to train graduate level teachers because we're really known for that. But we also recognize there's space to make improvements in that program as well, particularly around those same areas that I spoke about. We recognize we were missing coursework in and ways that we can get that coursework in our graduate level program. So expect an exciting announcement in the future for a reimagined graduate program too, but recognizing we will not give up on that option of having graduate teacher preparation. We certainly don't want to lose that.
Okay, thank you. We have a question. Does this program need prior approval of the Pennsylvania Department of Education? And if so, has it been approved?
That's an excellent question, and it absolutely does. Throughout our process of developing this program, we've been in close contact with our Pennsylvania Department of Education representatives to find out what the path forward for that is. We will be filling out assurance forms that our undergraduate program will meet the high standards that our graduate program does already, and we are ready to send those off to PDE by month's end, and we expect that approval to be forthcoming quite quickly after that.
Fantastic. We have a question about how will the program affect the conduct of teacher education at the regional campuses?
Oh, another excellent question, and something that we deeply considered as we were developing this. So as we develop a program, we're thinking about what those impacts are on regional campuses. And it's a question that came up too in the Provost Advisory Committee for undergraduate programs. And it gave Dean Kinloch and myself an opportunity to meet with all the regional campus presidents to talk about our new program. They all were extremely excited about this opportunity, particularly because it's going to open up space for us to partner in ways that we really haven't been able to in the past, other than encouraging undergraduates from the regional campus to come and do graduate teacher education. But now thinking about, is there a way we might share coursework? Is there a way we might be able to utilize faculty across regional campuses? We're kind of discussions that have already come up. And as far as negative impact, the regional presidents did not see this program as a threat to the work they do in undergraduate teacher education. And what those conversations really brought about was the reason why students might choose a regional campus, whether it's because of the regional location of it, where they live, they're looking for a smaller campus, but the regional presidents felt like that the students they have that come to their campus are really thrilled to be at those regional spaces. It's what works for them. And they see other students who have a desire perhaps to go to an urban campus like the Pittsburgh campus is, and really saw this as a place of possibility for us now to partner and share expertise and share work in ways that we haven't been able to do in the past.
Okay, great. I have a couple more. Let's see here. How will the new undergraduate program help us compete against our competitors such as Penn State and Temple?
Yeah, great question. Sabina, feel free to jump in anytime. I'm just so enthusiastic. These questions are so in line with the things that we've been talking about for years, right?
Yeah.
And that was really one of the considerations in thinking about developing this program, that we weren't competing well with our competition such as Penn State or Temple, because we haven't had the opportunity to offer undergraduate teacher education. So we're losing students who might be considering Pitt against a Penn State or a Temple, or even outside of our state, Ohio State, West Virginia University. So we're excited that this is really going to elevate us to be a place that students who want to earn teacher certification at the undergraduate level and perhaps want to go to a state or state-related university now can really see Pitt as an option.
And I'll just add to that, I understand we want to compete, and at the same time, this will just be a different sort of set aside kind of program, which is in some ways what's so inspiring about it, because I think the attention to not just trying to recruit and involve undergraduates who have dispositions toward justice, anti-racist dispositions, and so on, kids who are advocates, but to change the way the teaching is undertaken, to change the way the curriculum is conceived of. And so these will be experiences and processes that just are unparalleled. We'll be offering a new model. And I think that will be incredibly exciting to students in the region, but probably also nationally.
Okay, great. One final question. We've had a high amount of alumni asking how they can be involved with the new undergraduate teacher education program, whether that's mentoring a student or encouraging students to apply for the program, or even becoming a teacher in the program. What are the best ways, and when will alumni be able to get involved?
Do you want me to start, and then you can
absolutely
wrap us up? I think that's a generous question, and we love that the alums here want to be involved. We're right now in the thick of meeting really rapidly arriving deadlines. And so right now we're kind of nose down. And I think we'll be able to share out in the spring some ways that people can be involved and participate, but certainly encouraging students, getting students excited, getting high school, middle school students excited is a way alums can help. I think also fundraising, helping us think through ways and places that we can generate support for some of the really cutting edge and experimental efforts that are built into this project. So those are at least two ways that we can start thinking together.
Excellent, good. And on the fundraising side, scholarship support is going to be important as well, I think, too. So if there's anybody out there who's interested in a scholarship and supporting it, you can contact me. But that's all of the questions I have. Sabina and Michelle, I just wanted to thank you again for all of your input and your discussion here tonight. I'm going to turn this over to Ben Wilson. He and the other student ambassadors will now have a discussion about the student experience. So Ben, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for all the wonderful discussion about the exciting new program. Hi, everyone. My name is Ben Wilson, and I will be leading a roundtable discussion on student experience with my fellow Pitt student ambassadors. And I am also a student ambassador. And I am in my final stretch of completing my Doctor of Education studying social and comparative analysis. And I'm excited to join all of you this evening. I am joined by Zakaria Miller, who is earning her Master of Education in Higher Education, and Libby Korber, who is earning her Applied Developmental Psychology, Early Childhood Education, and Special Education. So with that being said, I would like to start this conversation off with why we all chose Pitt. I can probably speak to the fact that I had several people in my neck of the woods. I live in Erie, Pennsylvania. And so the thought of Pitt for me was out of the question initially, but then there was so much excitement from a few of my friends that attended Pitt's Doctor of Education program that I was just thrilled. I'm like, okay, I got to give this thing a shot. How about you all?
I know for me personally, I started out at the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown, so I was at a branch campus, and I was like starting an education there, and I'm in the CASE program now, so I got word of the CASE program just through like email blasts and everything like that, and I came to Pittsburgh to meet with Anna Arlotta Guerrero, and she really just like turned me on to the CASE program. So I transferred from Johnstown to Oakland just 2 years ago. So I chose because of the program, honestly. It was an amazing program.
Hello, everyone. So for me, I chose Pitt because, well, I'm originally from North Carolina, and I came to Pittsburgh for a service program, for a year service program. And I didn't want to leave Pittsburgh, but I wanted to go to grad school for higher education. And I was looking up the different universities and seeing if they had higher education as a master's program, and Pitt did. And it looked really great. And another bonus was I didn't need to do a GRE to apply for the program here at Pitt, which was great because I didn't want to spend the time or the money having to prepare for the GRE. And also I have like test anxiety associated with standardized testing. So it was just a big bonus that I didn't have to complete that in order to get into Pitt. And and also Pitt was the only school that I applied to. So it was either go to Pitt or go nowhere. So I'm really happy I got accepted. And what even made it better is I went to Panther Preview Day where students in like accepting a higher education program go and like do different interviews, I guess like in 2 days, and to see what internships would want you for your duration of the program. And I was able to get the position at the Office of International Services, and it aligned with everything I wanted to do. I'm very interested in international education and international students. So the fact that I also got that internship that also like paid for my tuition and fees just like made it like almost like there's like no way not to like go to here to Pitt. So that's why I decided to accept my acceptance.
I am so glad you brought up the GRE thing because that really was a seller for me. But then I still was a little bit leery because I was living in Erie. I knew I would have to travel to Pittsburgh. And so I remember going down to Pittsburgh for the orientation. And I'll never forget walking in that room and there were meeting so many people from across the country, like literally people from Nashville, people from California, and they were really interested in this program. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm complaining I'm only 2 hours north and these people are willing to travel to the University of Pittsburgh. So they must really be sold on this, University of Pittsburgh program. So yeah, that was my one of the things that stood out to me, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. So, but yeah, the GRE thing was definitely one of the things that I was like, okay, yeah, okay, that's a seller, So like, and another thing I was thinking about, like my plans, like what was I going to do with my degree, and I didn't know if you guys thought about like, okay, not only am I going to school here, what are my future plans? And I work in workforce development, and I love the whole idea about process improvement as well as equity. Everything that Dr. Kinloch and spoke about earlier, like that was an additional sell for me. I didn't know what you guys thought about that.
So for my degree, I am going to use my education degree and hopefully like teach in an elementary school somewhere, either regular education or special education. And then I also earned a degree in applied developmental psychology. So in hopes to later on in my career, maybe do something with school psychology or even work in education policy later on, because I do have my master's degree, so I can keep continuing my education. So that's basically what Pitt has made me want to do with my degree.
Wow.
Yeah, for me, I love advising students and like connecting with students one-on-one. So after graduation, I'm really interested in becoming a career advisor or a study abroad advisor. A study abroad advisor for me, just because I've studied abroad myself, and I would love to get students, especially like underrepresented Black and Brown students, let them know like you have the ability to study abroad. Like it's not just a specific group that benefits from it. You can benefit from it too, and you can learn a lot from going to a different country and exchanging cultures. And yeah, and I don't know exactly if I'm going to stay here in Pittsburgh or if I'm going to go to a different city. That's like all up in the air. I'm pretty open to move pretty much anywhere, but yeah, that's where I'm at.
That's cool. And I mentioned that I love workforce development, but I want to kind of go back to, although I went to that orientation and that kind of attracted me to the whole atmosphere of Pitt, I remember going into my first semester saying, you know what, I'm going to give this one semester. And then if I'm not keen on this thing, I'm out. And as you can tell, 3 years later, I'm getting ready to graduate. The whole experience for me has been fantastic so far. And I think for me, and I'm not sure about you all, but for me, I was a little concerned, like when COVID hit, like how was that going to look? And, how was the school going to respond? And was I still going to get my education? And for me, I thought the School of Education didn't miss a beat. The only thing we didn't have was the in-person classes, which was a little hard, but I tell you what, for me, the education were there, the advisors were there, we made it work. People leaned on each other a little bit virtually, supporting each other throughout the whole process. I mean, I know that for me, I didn't know if you all felt the same way, but didn't miss a beat. Like still graduating on time and everything else, so, how's your experience been thus far?
Yeah, the professors were really accommodating, really supportive. I'm really happy that they were aware of the situation that we were in and like how the students, like school wasn't the only thing on students' minds. Like we were in a pandemic. I came into the University of Pittsburgh during like the election period. Like there was like a lot of stress and just a lot of things happening around the country and the world. And I'm really happy that the professors acknowledged that and was able to accommodate students based on that. And that was really helpful for me. It made me feel like they actually cared about us. And that was really nice.
Oh, that's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true. Yeah.
I would agree. There would be some classes where we would like log on to Zoom and some of us had our cameras on, some of us had our cameras off. And the professors would just, even through the screen, they would read the situation, be like, you guys look really stressed or really drained today. Why don't we just take the first like 15 minutes and we just talk? We're not going to worry about like the curriculum right now. We're not going to worry about like class. We're just going to talk, be human to human. What's on your mind? they really did not miss a beat, like you said. We would talk about the current events happening, like around the election time. A lot of us were stressed out. So yeah, they just really looked after your mental health and everything else going on in your life.
Yeah, and to me, that was like, they didn't have to do that, but they did it. I mean, and that was key. I mean, because, you know, as a, you know, professional, you know, I have a full-time job and I'm navigating that and family life and everything else. I kind of needed that space, you know. As a non-traditional student, I was like, okay, I'm logging on Saturday morning and I'm not really here, but then, you know, but I'm trying to be here. And it was just one of those things. It was like, after class, I felt like, I want more. Can we log back on and do class again? Just, man, you know, it really was, you know, a great opportunity. So I guess, you know, one of the other things I was wondering, you know, kind of, you know, thinking about was, you know, like, it took students that were currently in the process of graduating, telling me a little bit about Pitt, selling me on the idea of Pitt, and honestly help guide me. I don't know if, you know, you've all had that experience, but help guide me and support me. I guess in your, like, what advice would you give anybody even considering coming into Pitt? You know, what type of advice, I guess? I can give tons of advice, good advice.
Yeah, I would say make connections and build relationships with your classmates and your peers. Most likely they're going through the same thing as you, and it's really nice to have that support system with people who are taking the same classes as you and has like the same goal as graduating the same time as you. And it's just really nice to like have friends while you're at school. And I will also say take advantage of like the writing center and like the counseling center and like all these different resources on campus, because they can help a lot. The writing center helped me so much with my the improvement of my writing and like grammar and punctuations, and learning how to like transition better between paragraphs. So definitely undergrad, but definitely like grad student, make sure you're going to the writing center. They're so helpful.
And I would say just get involved. Like, everyone was at the same point as you, or they are at the same point as you. So you have nothing to lose. Just get involved, meet people, put yourself out there, and also take advantage of like the places on campus to study, especially during a pandemic. You kind of get tired of seeing your room over and over again, doing your work in the same spot. So like, use Hillman or use one of the buildings, or when it's nice out, go to Shenley Plaza, like sit on one of the chairs, get a blanket, lay on the grass. Just really take advantage of the resources Pitt has and like the opportunities that are here.
I'm so glad you said that, because I went to a smaller university for my bachelor's and then my master's degree. And so Pitt was huge. I was like, oh my goodness, like, this is a whole new world. And there were so many new things to experience and so many resources available, and everyone was so nice. And you would think, me coming from Erie, I would embrace all this brand new, like eat at a new restaurant and try something different. But my go-to restaurant was Panera, because I didn't know. I mean, I knew there were so many other places to eat. I'm just curious, like, what was your favorite spot to eat, or your favorite spot on campus? Or you kind of alluded to it, Libby. I mean, is there anything else that I should have experienced?
That's well, definitely Shenley Plaza. I love that. Sometimes my professors would take us out to class there. But the porch, if you haven't eaten at the porch, I don't know what you're doing. You need to go there tonight. But yeah, the porch and Shenley Plaza are like my home when I'm on campus. So
I will take note.
Yeah, I would advise just like, I don't know if y'all heard of the neighborhood Squirrel Hill, but that's where I live and it's like pretty close to the university. And they have so many different like restaurants. I would come here and try like different bubble tea shops. I don't really know the names of them. There's one called Kung Fu, I think Kung Fu Milk Tea, that's in Squirrel Hill, and that's really good. And there's like bakeries in Squirrel Hill. So just like come to like the Murray Street in Squirrel Hill and just try different restaurants. I think you would really like it.
Now I don't want to graduate. I want to do this all over again. So thank you, Libby and Zakaria. For the sake of time, I mean, we're going to kind of move on. This was fun. Thanks. So at this time, I would like to turn this over to Dr. Jerry Longo to provide a message from the School of Education Alumni Society. Dr. Longo will close out our program. Thank you.
Well, Libby, Zakaria, and Ben, I loved your enthusiasm. It's great to hear. As president of the School of Education's Alumni Society, I hope you enjoyed our homecoming program and have learned about the many ways that our students in school lead in education. Our hope is that you will become involved with our students and fellow alumni. We have many ways you can do so. For example, you can begin by providing us with your current contact information so that you receive communications and information about our school. Also, you may follow us on social media to hear about trending topics in education. We are active on all the major platforms with links available in the chat window. You're encouraged to nominate a School of Education graduate for our annual Alumni Awards. Nominations will be sent out soon through our monthly e-newsletter and can be located on our website. You can also support our School of Education with a philanthropic gift of any amount by visiting givetopitt.edu. Support from alumni is needed now more than ever to help support our students and promote important school initiatives like those that you learned about this evening. Join Pitt Commons, which is Pitt's networking platform, where you can connect with fellow Pitt alumni and help to mentor current students. To become involved in these areas, we recommend that you contact Michael Haas, Director of Development and Alumni Affairs at mbh26@pitt.edu. Mike will enjoy speaking with you and learning about your Pitt experience. This concludes our program today. We hope you enjoyed learning about our students and all the wonderful things happening at Pitt and in our School of Education. Thank you, stay safe, and hail to Pitt.